15 books that will blow your mind. We put together a list of 15 such books, taking inspiration from Amazon's list of 100 books to read in your lifetime, recommendations from Goodreads users, as well as some of our own personal favorites. These books' exploration of politics, history, and the human condition are so insightful, they've withstood the test of time. The next time you're looking for a riveting read, consider picking up one of these 15 mind-blowing books. Number 1. 1984 by George Orwell. The year 1984 has come and gone, but George Orwell's prophetic, nightmarish vision in 1949 of the world we were becoming is timelier than ever. 1984 is still the great modern classic of negative utopia, a startlingly original and haunting novel that creates an imaginary world that is completely convincing, from the first sentence to the last 4 words. No one can deny the novel's hold on the imaginations of whole generations, or the power of its admonitions, a power that seems to grow, not lessen, with the passage of time. Number 2. Brave New World by Aldous Huxley. Brave New World is a novel written in 1931 by Aldous Huxley and published in 1932. Set in London of AD 254632 AF after Ford in the book, the novel anticipates developments in reproductive technology, sleep learning, psychological manipulation, and classical conditioning that combine profoundly to change society. Huxley answered this book with a reassessment in an essay, Brave New World Revisited 1958, and with Island 1962, his final novel. In 1999, the Modern Library ranked Brave New World 5th on its list of the 100 best English-language novels of the 20th century. In 2003, Robert M.C. Crumb, writing for The Observer, included Brave New World chronologically at number 53 in the top 100 greatest novels of all time, and the novel was listed at number 87 on the BBC's survey The Big Read. Number 3. Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. Frankenstein, or The Modern Prometheus, is a novel written by the English author Mary Wollstonecraft Shelley about the young science student Victor Frankenstein, who creates a grotesque but sentient creature in an unorthodox scientific experiment. Shelley started writing the story when she was 18, and the novel was published when she was 20. The first edition was published anonymously in London in 1818. Shelley's name appears on the second edition, published in France in 1823. Shelley had travelled through Europe in 1814, journeying along the River Rhine in Germany with a stop in Gernsheim, which is just 17 kilometers 10 miles away from Frankenstein's castle, where, 2 centuries before, an alchemist was engaged in experiments. Later, she travelled in the region of Geneva, Switzerland, where much of the story takes place, and the topic of Galvanism and other similar occult ideas were themes of conversation among her companions, particularly her lover and future husband, Percy Shelley. Mary, Percy, Lord Byron, and John Polidori decided to have a competition to see who could write the best horror story. After thinking for days, Shelley dreamt about a scientist who created life and was horrified by what he had made. Her dream later evolved into the novel's story. Frankenstein is infused with elements of the Gothic novel and the Romantic movement, and is also considered to be one of the earliest examples of science fiction. Brian Aldiss has argued that it should be considered the first true science fiction story because, in contrast to previous stories with fantastical elements resembling those of later science fiction, the central character makes a deliberate decision and turns to modern experiments in the laboratory to achieve fantastic results. It has had a considerable influence in literature and popular culture and spawned a complete genre of horror stories, films, and plays. Since the novel's publication, the name Frankenstein has often been used to refer to the monster itself, as it is in the stage adaptation by Peggy Webling. This usage is sometimes considered erroneous, but usage commentators regard it as well established and acceptable. In the novel, the monster is identified by words such as creature, monster, demon, and it. Speaking to Victor Frankenstein, the monster refers to himself as the Adam of your labors, and elsewhere as someone who would have been your Adam, but is instead your fallen angel. Number 4. The Trial by Franz Kafka. The Trial, original German title Der Prozess, later Der Prozess, Der Prose and Der Prose, is a novel written by Franz Kafka from 1914 to 1915 and published in 1925. One of his best-known works, it tells the story of a man arrested and prosecuted by a remote, inaccessible authority, with the nature of his crime revealed neither to him nor to the reader. Heavily influenced by Dostoevsky's Crime and Punishment and the Brothers Karamazov, Kafka even went so far as to call Dostoevsky a blood relative. Like Kafka's other novels, The Trial was never completed, although it does include a chapter which brings the story to an end. After Kafka's death in 1924, his friend and literary executor Max Brod edited the text for publication by Verlag Die Schmiede. The original manuscript is held at the Museum of Modern Literature, Marburg am Neckar, Germany. The first English-language translation, by Wilhelm Edmund Muir, was published in 1937. In 1999, the book was listed in Le Monde 100 Books of the Century and is numbered 2 of the best German novels of the 20th century. Number 5. Neuromancer. By William Gibson. Neuromancer is a 1984 novel by William Gibson, a seminal work in the cyberpunk genre and the first winner of the science fiction Triple Crown, the Nebula Award, the Philip K. Dick Award, and the Hugo Award. It was Gibson's debut novel and the beginning of the Sprawl trilogy. The novel tells the story of a washed-up computer hacker hired by a mysterious employer to pull off the ultimate hack. Number 6. The Things They Carried by Tim O'Brien. The Things They Carried is a collection of short stories by Tim O'Brien, about a platoon of American soldiers in the Vietnam War. His third book about the war, it is based upon his experiences as a soldier in the 23rd Infantry Division, 3rd Platoon. O'Brien prefers to refrain from political debate and discourse regarding the Vietnam War, but has become jaded regarding the ignorance he perceives from the denizens of his hometown tour the world. It is in part this ignorance that drove O'Brien to author The Things They Carried. It was initially published by Houghton Mifflin in 1990. Many of the characters are semi-autobiographical, sharing similarities with characters from his memoir If I Die in a Combat Zone, Box Me Up and Ship Me Home. The book works heavily with metafiction, employing a writing tactic called verisimilitude. The use of real names and inclusion of himself as the protagonist within the book creates a style that meshes and blurs the fiction and non-fiction. The book's style helps distinguish O'Brien's literary approach from other authors. The Things They Carried is dedicated to the men of the Alpha Company with whom he fought during the war. Number 7. Slaughterhouse-Five by Kurt Vonnegut. Slaughterhouse-Five, or The Children's Crusade: A Duty Dance with Death 1969 is a satirical novel by Kurt Vonnegut about World War II experiences and journeys through time of a chaplain's assistant named Billy Pilgrim. It is generally recognized as Vonnegut's most influential and popular work. Vonnegut's use of the firebombing of Dresden as a central event makes the novel semi-autobiographical, because he was present then. Number 8. Fahrenheit 451 by Ray Bradbury. Fahrenheit 451 is a dystopian novel by Ray Bradbury published in 1953. It is regarded as one of his best works. The novel presents a future American society where books are outlawed and firemen burn any that are found. The title refers to the temperature that Bradbury asserted to be the autoignition temperature of paper. In reality, scientists place the autoignition temperature of paper anywhere from high 440 degrees Fahrenheit to some 30 degrees hotter, depending on the study and type of paper. The novel has been the subject of interpretations focusing on the historical role of book burning in suppressing dissenting ideas. In a 1956 radio interview, Bradbury stated that he wrote Fahrenheit 451 because of his concerns at the time during the McCarthy era about the threat of book burning in the United States. In later years, he stated his motivation for writing the book in more general terms. In 1954, Fahrenheit 451 won the American Academy of Arts and Letters Award in Literature and the Commonwealth Club of California Gold Medal. It has since won the Prometheus Hall of Fame Award in 1984. and a 1954 Retro Hugo Award, one of only 4 Best Novel Retro Hugos ever given, in 2004. Bradbury was honored with a spoken word Grammy nomination for his 1976 audiobook version. Adaptations include Fred is Truffaut's film adaptation of the novel in 1966, and a BBC radio dramatization was produced in 1982. Bradbury published a stage play version in 1979, and helped develop a 1984 interactive fiction computer game titled Fahrenheit 451, released in 2010 with a collection of his short stories, A Pleasure to Burn.